You have 0 pizza records. I have 2, going on 3.
Yeah! That's it! That's it, baby! We did it! Another one!
Guys, it has been the longest few months.
You look like Fix-It Felix if you got addicted to Colombian crack. Alright, welcome back, ladies and ladies with dicks. Lil Wayne is way past his prime. I mean, nowadays he's almost decaying into the Crypt Keeper. But he did say something that will be told in generations from the foreseeable future. And that is, snakes in the grass so I stay in the pavement. It's some heavy shit, and I'll give you a moment to cry, because unfortunately one of YouTube's most beloved creators that soared to over 15 million subscribers in the past few years has been outed as nothing but a fraud that will manipulate his audience into believing he is a heroic person that goes out of his way and helps desperate people that need it with his support and money, when in fact he's just a self-absorbed gaping asshole, not even a drop of hemorrhoid cream to go with it. The only person that he ends up helping is himself at the end of the day, spending all of his profits on private resorts while he pretends to be spending it towards a dying city from going extinct.
Never risked your life to then selflessly spend $10,000 to support the struggling people in the angle? No, you spent $10,000 on a luxurious vacation resort and then use it as a tax write-off.
He was also caught faking almost every single one of his straight line challenges, being miles away from the graphed out line he wasn't allowed to cross. He doxed and disrespected people who assisted him in making videos, putting their job into jeopardy for even being in a frame of it, despite the person pleading not to have any of his info leaked, and graciously did the same to a tour guide's ice bike he rented just to purposely dunk it into the bottom of a fucking lake, possibly costing the man his job. Staged an entire challenge of where he would travel the world in 30 days or he would delete his channel, spending almost a week of it in his own home city, probably waving at the neighbors on his morning jog, pretending like he's in the middle of Croatia, and a whole entire sling and slobbery slew of virtuous bullshit that Airrack shoves down people's throats to make us believe that he's a genuine person looking to provide for the good of humanity, when all he provides to people is free colonoscopies with his middle finger up their ass. Before anything, I want to acknowledge that this entire video would have never been possible or swooped right under my radar if it wasn't for the YouTuber Soggy Serial and his 3-part exposal series he's done on Airrack, providing everyone with more examples than you can even count on Airrack developing this addiction of making sure to lie to his audience in almost every single piece of content he's ever released. So Soggy's channel link along with his Elder Scroll of a Google Doc he posted full of evidence will be linked in the description, and my Instagram too. That wasn't a request, it was a damn command. I know most of you got one and watch my vids, so if you're gonna stalk or lurk around, at least do it right by following me on there. So many of you still might be confused on what his content even consists of, so let me give you some background. Airrack was one of the channels that followed MrBeast's challenge or survival blueprints towards his video format. For example, surviving a $100,000 vacation. You know, very daring. I'm surprised he even lived to tell the tale. He even got co-signed and shouted out by him, and I believe was featured in some MrBeast videos as well.
Who do you think will hit 100 million next?
Probably Airrack. I think he shares in that like psychopathic energy, and I think he's the kind of guy that will just go until he hits it.
I'm not gonna act like Airrack was just a carbon fiber clone of MrBeast though, because he did have his own original concepts and ideas to put out there, and you can go onto his channel and clearly see he wasn't blatantly ripping people off, just happily blatantly lying to your face. You see, just like MrBeast, Airrack builds the entire foundation of his videos being genuine or legitimate, foaming out the mouth and ejaculating into his pants over the lengths he goes to prove how hard he works to make sure all of what you see is real.
We go so far to make sure that videos are not fake, so no. You can count on me to not fake videos, unlike almost every other creator on the platform. I feel like I just started 100 beefs. Not sorry about it. Does Airrack have a world record?
Yeah, it's being the world's worst liar. I mean, look at how deranged you look while desperately pleading to everybody that your vids aren't faker than a Kardashian pair of tits. It's like watching the Homelander trying not to go through an emotional breakdown when somebody tells him he's not a hero. He would try his hardest to prove the fact that he worked relentlessly to produce these life-changing vlogs by keeping up the same act with his 30-day world tour challenge, making the premise clear that you'd be mentally challenged to even assume for a second of this would be fake. Because if Airrack doesn't travel through every major continent possible or misses one upload of this 30-day journey, he's gonna done bring the beast out of Jimmy, making him in charge of deleting his channel if he skipped any days.
I gave my YouTube password to MrBeast, who has agreed that I have 30 days to make it around the earth, upload a video on this channel every day for the next 30 days, and if I fail, he will delete my channel. Yeah.
On the surface level, this sounds like a venture that would be quite worth the watch, because if he failed, there wouldn't be jack shit to watch. So you know, the stakes were quite high in the public's eye, especially with him having to return to the starting point of New York by day 30. But to Airrack, this was all another giant facade he coerced his audience into believing. You see, the reality of it was, thanks to Soggy Serial's CIA investigation on this man, only 3 minutes in watching the first episode, he would already give away that the whole series was a hoof full of fucking boot.
Some kind of parade happening. All the roads around here are closed down. This is not something I anticipated, but we might have to jump out.
Because this? Well, this is the Dublin Services Parade, which happened on September 2nd.
An entire 3 months before Airrack even announced the event into existence. And his dumbass put that on the start of the show's first premiere. Couldn't even get to a mid-roll ad without fucking the whole thing up, making the challenge go from 30 to 120 days in less than 30 seconds in. It's almost impressive how obvious he really made it by having it in so soon. It makes me believe he almost planted little clues like it was a reverse version of Where's Waldo, where you're just supposed to find everything else. It's either that or his entire editing team needs to be sent to rehab, because what kind of drugs do you have to be injecting to make a mistake this huge within the first step of your great big journey? Soggy would also provide more examples, and I think it would do right to show them as well, because it would furthermore prove Airrack to not give one clit of a shit about his mistakes or deceiving his audience. Proving in episode 4 he's either faking this or part symbiote by pulling out some meat that expired 3 months ago, and flexing out his watch in front of the camera throughout episode 3, which clearly told us it wasn't even a time close to December.
Go to episode 3 and pause right here. You can clearly see the 12th September timestamp on his watch.
Airrack would continue to never practice what he preaches, doubling down on the fact that this challenge was real, creating the sob story where he tried to convince everyone he was working until the point of exhaustion, where he barely scraped by to get today's upload out, completely omitting the fact that he used his pre-recorded emergency videos just to make sure a fucking hour of that clock wouldn't go to waste, towards beating this ultimate goal, heavily still applying this narrative that he was desperately racing across the world to get done with this 30-day challenge, despite having a 90-day head start, making the entire challenge not really a fucking challenge at all.
Almost missed our upload window, and I have a few videos in this series saved for moments like this. Obviously, some of the videos in this series are not filmed completely live. These videos take so much time and effort to pre-produce. So luckily, I shot this video right before we shot the series in case of a moment like this.
Yeah, you guys know how Labor Day and Christmas are just barely apart. I can't even go outside and light off a firework without messing up somebody's Christmas light. I just don't understand how he thought nobody would actually look at the video being played in front of them and not at least catch something suspicious by constantly pleading that you were putting your heart and soul into your project, and then proceeding to upload multiple emergency videos that go against the entire challenge in the first place. And sadly, that's what he would exactly continue to do while leaving for Dubai. Soggy Serial caught on to another lie of Airrack, where he said he rushed from Italy just to get to Dubai because that's where he ended off in the previous episode in September, despite framing it like it just happened last week. But if you look closely on his flight list, this dirty damn motherfucker ain't do nothing but left from Texas.
During the flight itself, you can clearly see on several occasions that the plane never left southern Italy. It left Houston, USA. You can also see the flight plan over here, and as a geographical expert, I know that this is Europe. And you know where the arrow is originating from? Well, that's America.
What really makes me want to butter my balls across a crocodile's jaws is the fact that he went out of his way to calculate the amount of miles it would take to travel from Italy to Dubai, furthermore giving people this perception of how hard he was working against the clock to get there, and that's where he just arrived from. I mean, I'm pretty confident in saying not too many people would even care if he just did a daily upload competition without the traveling across the world part. You know, I feel like people would have been just as satisfied for you doing that, because when it comes to consistently posting, you're definitely not lacking in that department. I unfortunately have to log on to YouTube with a crucifix in my hand every day because I see your cursed face on the front of the homepage. You could have honestly closed the book on that. Your reputation and credibility wouldn't have been questioned at all. But for some reason, lying isn't something you're willing to let go. You're basically just hiding a dead horse with a paper towel. The act is up, and with Soggy showing even more examples, it would apply a lot of pressure for Airrack to eventually respond. And of course, with him being incredibly insecure about criticism made about him, he did the Soggy himself in about the worst way possible. After his initial video was released, Airrack would make a comment that would be pinned that basically boils it all down to him saying, "Suck pubic hair for all I care." Yo, appreciate the feedback. We are shooting the series as we speak, but as I mentioned in the video, some of them were shot before the series, so we could give ourselves a head start to edit and make the vids as good as possible. Biggest lesson is to more clearly communicate, uploading every day while I travel around the world. I think I could have been more clear in the exact constraints for sure. Enjoy the back half of the series. Homie, we ain't watching a fucking second of your pathetic excuse of a production. And plus you said the same shit twice. And no, you aren't shooting as you speak. You're sitting here stroking it as we speak in the comfort of your own home. I don't know if you follow the Mayan calendar as your source of time, because I don't possibly see how people can mix this up. There's no excuse for you to have all this pre-planned damn near half-a-year-old footage for what was supposed to be a quick month event. You had your Shrek challenge uploaded on December 7th, claiming you only filmed it a few days before the 30 days started. But if you go on Ryan Trahan's channel, you can see the exact collab between the two was posted on the end of October. You've been exposed for having almost every episode of this to be staged or pre-recorded, so why are you still treating it like it's a raw cinematic masterpiece. Airrack's reputation would only get worse from this point forward because Soggy Cereal released a second exposal video, practically blowing his old one out of the water when it comes to exposing Airrack for being disingenuous with his audience. And this time his string of lies would get a whole lot worse because the very videos that built the foundation of his career are now being outed to be completely fake as well. If you're a fan of ass crack, I'm sure you would be familiar with his Angle City art. Apparently a bunch of YouTubers, some being in his own inner circle, reached out to Soggy to tell him how even this series was a sad attempt of Airrack bending the truth way out of proportion. For some context, Angle City is a sort of restricted frozen town in Canada and Minnesota as well that has suffered huge losses since COVID has started, making it near impossible to enter or exit the town at any time, but our hero Airrack was willing to put his life on the line, riding the same very dangerous ice trail people have lost their lives on, because that's the only path he can access to finally enter the town to spend all of his money down there to save their dying economy.
COVID restrictions in Canada, the Angle has turned into an island where nobody can come in and nobody can leave. Now they've lost over $10 million worth of normal tourist money. So our goal is to somehow get to the Angle and spend the most amount of money. Empty my bank account type of money. I mean, just shower them in cash.
Which would be great if this guy even decided to take a step into the city. Because as it turns out, Airrack lied throughout the whole video solely on the fact that he was going to get to the goddamn Angle even if it kills him.
Getting to the Angle, no matter what it takes. I don't care if it takes all of my money. Mother Nature will not stop.
The only thing Airrack showered to the people of Angle was a golden one delivered right out of his urethra. The entire setting where his adventurous story takes place is actually 40 miles away in a beautiful cozy lodge in a city called Baudette, dining on 4-course meals while the people he was supposed to be seeing or helping are eating ice trays out of their freezer to survive another night. That dangerous ice trail Airrack dramatically hyped up to be a death-defying experience actually took place in the backyard of the cabins, only traveling around for a few minutes before purposely dumping the bike they used into the lake, probably decapitating a school of fish in the process, which resulted in the tour guide who lended him the bike get into a sticky situation with his job. So after a daring 5 minutes of walking on the resort's backyard, framing it that he spent over an hour on the dangerous Angle ice trail, he eventually ended up going back utterly defeated, devastated by the fact that he couldn't reach the city despite never even fucking attempting to bat an eye towards it. They eventually returned back to the same sportsman lodge they were at and continuing to stay at, as you'll find out shortly. Determined to reach this forsaken city, they hashed out a new plan where instead of faking the travel over this ice trail, they'd rather stage a way to fly over these bitches instead. And what better way to do that than to harass and dox out a private pilot you hired from a small city that only holds around a couple thousand people.
So we get up the next morning, we leave on the exact same mission again.
Well, when things don't work,
Private plane, baby!
Shut your bitch ass the fuck!
According to the insider YouTubers that worked on the video I just showed, reached out to Soggy explaining that this pilot wanted to be completely anonymous, more anonymous than a fucking Bigfoot sighting. Didn't want one fragment of his face or anything about him to be revealed, because a flight directly towards Angle would be something that breaks the bound of legality. I don't know what kind of 28 days later shit they got going on over there, but basically it's an extremely dangerous flight. And since the pilot is from a local area with not too many people, it wouldn't take nothing but a simple Google search to find out who this guy is. One of the requirements the pilot wanted was for his name to be kept completely hidden, and for some reason, with Airrack's brain being the equivalent of a hot pocket spinning in a microwave, he decided to use the pilot's real name as his fake name.
You're a fucking idiot.
The guy has chosen to stay completely anonymous because this whole flying into the Angle thing is in the gray area of what's legal.
To hide his identity, we agreed to call him nigga in this entire video. Have fun blurring his face in the entire video, buddy.
The name he just used in quotations was actually the real man's name. Myself and Soggy have censored his real name just out of respect for not pushing it out there further. So I'm gonna call this motherfucker Mark as an actual fake name, considering Airrack would continue to chant it out like some Super Bowl cheerleaders watching their team score a touchdown. Support like that, the last thing you would expect from Airrack is to start insulting the man helping him, creating fake voiceovers towards the pilot being inexperienced or stupid, portraying him in a way where he doesn't know how to start the plane in the first place, or that simply just wasn't the case. Then finally just calling out the plane itself that the pilot owns for just being a piece of garbage that would resurrect the Wright brothers if it dared to even take off to the sky, which resulted in the pilot and the company he works for to essentially hate him for portraying their company in a bad light when they did absolutely nothing wrong.
Plane barely works.
Talking up all this game about how sick he is at flying planes. Tries to start it, doesn't start.
According to my insider, and which I also suspected, this clip...
Come on, stupid plane. Come on, why don't you start? God damn it. Fuck.
Well, it's completely altered. See, this isn't what the pilot said. Airrack asked someone to send him a fake voice memo so he could use it as a voice overlay and lie about the pilot getting pissed that the plane didn't start.
Is it just boredom at this point? Because I'm failing to see the point of any of this besides slandering an innocent man for your content. You don't gain a damn thing from it, so what was even the reasoning to do this to somebody that was supposed to be helping you in the first place? Harry Sack tells everyone they finally just touched down at the angle and are now taking first action towards rescuing the poor people of the city rotting in poverty.
We did it. Sweet. Let's go.
Did it! Let's go, baby!
The angle! The angle! We're here. I mean, it looks kind of like
the same airport you just claimed you left from? Oh, that's probably because it actually just fucking is. Airrack is in the same Baudette airport he just stated that he left from. And if he never actually arrived to the angle, then where could he possibly be going? Well, it ended up being the same ass resort called the Sportsman Lodge that he tried to portray as an entirely different vacation spot in the Angle City itself.
Stomach's completely full of angular food. Is that funny?
When you go to look up the lodge, you can see where it's located and the exact same interior designs of the cabin that you can see in episodes 1 and 2 of Airrack's video. Soggy Serial did a great job in his video going over the evidence, so I'll provide some photos from the lodge's site in Airrack's video that you'll easily see is the exact same place. Here's a side-by-side shot of Airrack's vid and the lodge's pictures on their website. Resemblance is almost uncanny. That arcade you see throughout the video was also at the same lodge in Baudette. Same bars, same bed sheets, same damn shower curtains. This man pulled a fucking Happy Death Day on us. He's living the same life over and over right in front of our faces. The last thing I want to cover is Airrack's entire Crossing America in a Straight Line challenge, which is one of the most popular videos on his channel, and it got outed to be all but a lie as well. Of course, throughout the video, he was preaching out his patriotism to his audience by claiming over 100 times that he will never leave this line no matter what the issue is. If he has to take a piss, he's doing it in the middle of a freeway, a wall in front of him, he'll charge through that bitch like the Juggernaut. He made it so adamant that he will never step out of this line where the only buffer zone he was allowed to cross was only out of a half mile.
you need to walk perfectly straight this way.
And just so you know, the line we're using to cross the country has a half-mile buffer zone on either side to avoid trespassing and make sure this mission is actually possible.
And just so that you guys know this is 100% legit, I actually put the map to this route in the description. You can go try it for yourself if you want.
So much confidence in something that can be easily disproved. I won't take credit like I'm the man that made this great discovery, but if you actually go on the map route he linked, all you would have to do is flip the map around and see that for some reason he edited in a fake forest for this part of the video to make it seem like they ran into this giant obstacle they had to overcome.
Couldn't find this area anywhere along that route until I finally realized that his editors just turned this section on the map upside down and then photoshopped the forest on top of it.
There's another example of Airrack claiming he has to send out his cameraman out of the line at this gas station to refuel because, as you know, the whole thing will fail if Airrack dares to step out. But if you use some context clues in the background, you can realize that he filmed this segment by Route 29, which is an entire 30 miles away from where they were allowed to be at. There's more examples, one of them being a shot of Airrack at the border of South Dakota, which is over 40 miles away from the line. There's endless more, but I would essentially feel like I'm taking Soggy's video at that point, so if you want to go watch him provide even double the information that I did, his videos will be linked below. I wanted to summarize everything the best that I could with the drama that's been circling around Airrack's name recently. Not something I'm too well versed into, as I never watched the guy before researching for this. Just always saw his face plastered against my fucking homepage. Lesson of the wise for this shit is if somebody is constantly trying to shove some ideology about how much of a savior they are all the time, chances are it's usually a demon in disguise. He took something that initially was just a small crack in your career and turned it into a massive crater by putting on this fake persona of you being genuine. It's kind of fucking sad really that you have this many followers and influence and still comfortably just lied right to their faces. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to slap a like before your dad slaps you, subscribe to hit my vibe, and follow all my socials. If Airrack responds to all of this, I'll try to cover a video on that as well, but I'll see you all very soon. Alright, I'ma head out this bitch.
Toys, why you snap like that?